Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Retro Gamers Podcast, episode 177. Larry here.
And Anthony here.
What's going on, Ant? How are you?
Quarantined. How are you?
I'm doing the same thing. So, we've luckily been preparing for this since 1986, I think our slogan was for a little while.
Yeah, for a while we were avoiding the sun since 1986, and now we're being told to do that.
So,
no problem at all for us.
So we got this down pat. Let me just fix that real quick. There we go. Perfect. So a little bit of a different setting for me, at least, due to home 9 to 5. My computer desk has been commandeered, so I'm over in the Pop Funko room, as you can see behind me.
Nice.
So for the time being, this is pretty much going to be the background. For now. And
a portion of my desk has been commandeered for work, but I have an L-shaped desk, so I can fit it there. But now I also have a 26-inch TV on my desk as a second screen for work. So I've got a laptop screen, I've got a 26-inch TV for a second screen, and then I've got a dual monitor for my regular setup. And because my cat loves to spend time with me and walks all over my keyboards, I have her pillow on one side of the desk, because if I don't put it there, she just walks all over everything. So it's a little cramped on my desk right now.
Fantastic! Oh boy, I love it. I just have like a little like a Target computer desk you put together in like 15 minutes. So really no room for anything. There's room for one laptop, which is there, and I wish I had a dual monitor, but that's that for that. So we're going to be here. We're going to be actually today's going to be a fun topic. We're going to talk about it's at time again. Unfortunately, kind of forgot what time it was. But with the time of the year, it is the 2020 nominations, I should say, for the 2020 Video Game Hall of Fame.
Yes. Very excited about that. I always enjoy when this comes around every year, because it's really cool to see which games are getting nominated and which ones are most deserving of the accolades, at that point, because there are so many. There's so many solid, like, amazing games that have defined the video game industry.
Oh yeah,
and and every year we get to see just a few more go in. And even though it's only been, I think the Video Game Hall of Fame has only been inducting for the last few years, there are so many heavy hitters that have yet to go in.
This is actually the 5th year, to be honest with you. Looks like the earliest was 2015, if I'm looking at it correctly, and. Just some notable favorites. Donkey Kong, these are from years past. Donkey Kong, GTA 3, Halo, Doom, Final Fantasy 7, of course, Zelda, amongst others. I'm just looking at the screen real quick.
Super Mario Brothers is on the list.
It's in there somewhere, yeah. And of course, this whole thing is through the Strong National Museum of Play, which is up in Rochester. So really not that far from me. And next time at some point, and one of the times you come in, I think we should maybe make a weekend out of it. Head up there. I
think that's a very good episode that we can do.
Absolutely. And you go to worldvideogamehall.org, and you can vote once a day. Basically, what you can do is you vote once a day on whatever you games that you want, and then the ballot was running from March 19th, ends April 2nd. So by the time this drops, you still got a couple of days to vote. And it's even if you vote on different, not one game, I think like 6 of them maybe go in or something like that. So so you can vote for different ones just to be fair.
Yeah, and you might as well, if you want to be a part of the process, obviously, and see your picks go in, then definitely go and vote.
Absolutely. So we're gonna go through these as 12 finalists right now, and we're just gonna touch on them. Kind of give our thoughts, our history, our experience with some of these games, and if we feel maybe they're worthy to be inducted and enshrined into the Hall of Fame.
All right, well then let's just get to it since we have 12 of them to go.
Let's get right to it. So, originally coming out in 2001 as one of these original web-based Flash games, we're going to be talking about Bejeweled.
Oh, wow, okay. I didn't expect that to be on the list.
Which started really that kind of match 3 craze, if you will, kind of akin to Tetris 2 or Pokemon Puzzle League, where you just move one piece around to match three or more pieces. And of course, this is all coming from the website. Just to mention real quick, let's see. So in 2013, it was estimated that this game was downloaded more than 500 million times. Mm-hmm. And in 2008, Entertainment Weekly called Bejeweled the Gone with the Wind of the casual game world.
Well, yeah, because casual gaming, I think, was really just kind of, Bejeweled was at the birth of casual gaming because, your average person didn't really game regularly until cell phones started to become a thing, and not only becoming a thing, but once you were able to start downloading games, on a mobile phone, it was just a cool way to pass the time. Now, granted, on your computers, you had you had Solitaire, you had Minesweeper and stuff like that. But this was like the first really simple kind of puzzle game that anybody can just pick up and play. It was just super easy to play. And
Solitaire is in the Hall of Fame, in fact.
Yes, it is.
And it should be. 2001 also really was the kind of, the iPhone, I think, just came out in 2001. So, cell phones were really getting ready to make that dress. Let's for a moment, kind of, for those who don't remember or weren't around at the time, when cell phones first came out, they were just a plethora of different styles, versions, sizes, clamshell, regular. They were nuts. All the different kinds. The iPhone comes out. I'm not saying, iPhone did it, but when the iPhone came out, all the phones started to kind of become one style, the way we know it today. Touchscreen, iPhone, there you go. We all have a touchscreen.
Or Android.
Exactly. But that style.
But yeah. They're little televisions.
And I remember in 2001, I think that was around the year I may have even gotten my first touchscreen. I think it was a Dare. I forgot to put it. I think LG put it out, maybe a couple years later. But with the touchscreen and even with the regular clamshells, and I don't know if you remember, I was definitely playing some of these mobile games. And Bejeweled, you can on your commute to work, if you were taking the train or something, just pop out the cell phone and just play real quick, and then you're done and walk away.
Yeah, I was a little late. I don't want to say I was late to the cell phone game, but I actually kind of held off on cell phones at the beginning because they were a huge craze, and at the time, I remember saying, "Oh, I don't want people to be able to find me every second of the day. I just don't. I just didn't want that type of attachment to me, so I kind of held off. And the reason why I wound up getting a cell phone is because I was working as a production assistant on a short film, and they sent me to go pick up one of the actors. And when I went to go pick up the actors, they accidentally gave me the wrong address. So I was standing outside of this house for like 45 minutes, and the actor's not coming out. And I'm like, well, what do I do? I can't. I'm just waiting here. So then I walked down the block, find a payphone because there were still payphones around, and I called the producer, and I'm like, hey, where's this actor? I'm like, and I read her off the address, and she's like, that's the wrong address.
Nope.
So then she gave me the correct address, and I drove down the street. It was like a block and a half down, and then of course there he was standing out there, and he's like, I've been waiting here for like an hour, and I'm like, I'm sorry, they gave me the wrong address. And then when I came back, the producer was like, yeah, you should really have a cell phone if you want to work in this business. And that's when I went and got a cell phone.
There you go. Eventually would have gotten one anyway because that's just how we live today. But that's a pretty funny story.
Yeah. I think that was like 2003 or 4.
Do you remember your first cell phone?
It was a Motorola flip phone.
Okay, all right.
In fact, I think I still have it.
Really? That would be crazy if you did.
Yeah, no, I think it's hiding. I remember I put it in. I just put it in one of my bags and left it there. And every so often, when I open that bag, I'm like, "Oh, look!"
That is weird.
Yeah,
I had the that little tiny Nokia blue phone.
Oh yeah, I remember those.
It was really so tiny.
I never understood those really tiny ones where like your thumb was too big to even press the right numbers.
Oh yeah, so this is my wallet because I'm a minimalist now. So this was probably the size of my original cell phone. And I remember when I talk, it always felt weird. So literally, I would talk like, "Hey, how you doing? What's going on?" Okay, I'll be right over this soon. All the time.
Yeah, so. But those early phones weren't very Bejeweled friendly. Not those.
No, they weren't. But speaking of, I'm actually going to go a little out of order on this screen because this is a great way to go into the second finalist, Nokia Snake, which was on all cell phones.
What was funny is I was going to say on my flip phone, I was like, I didn't have Bejeweled because it was one of those simple phones, but I played Snake all the time.
Bejeweled, I'm pretty sure you did have to pay to download. Snake was pre-installed on like every cell phone back then.
Yeah. Because you can make it with just like a couple of pixels. It wasn't, it was like one of the simplest games, and I loved Snake. It was just so much fun.
And again, just reading straight from the website, in 1997, Finnish tech company Nokia, I didn't realize they were from Finland, released a game to play on its mobile phone with a simple concept: move a snake around, gobbling up pixelated food. It was aptly named Snake. Let's see. It was the first cell phone game to demonstrate that mobile phones could be significant gaming machines. It was pre-installed on more than 350 million phones.
Wow.
Setting the stage for a mobile gaming revolution that would come a decade later with the introduction of Apple's iPhone and the App Store and Google Play and stuff like that. So Snake was the kind of the pack-in game for cell phones, and I remember my little Nokia had Snake, and it had like a slot machine type game, but Snake was definitely the game to go. And what happens is, you would eat the little food, and then your snake would get 1 pixel longer. And it was just an endurance game. That's really what it was.
Yeah, you were just you were trying to figure out, you were trying to make the longest snake that you possibly could make before you ran into yourself.
Exactly, or into the wall or something like that.
Yeah.
And multitude of versions of Snake have come out since then, so...
Yeah, and again, one of those things where it's like, it's interesting, the first two that are up for the Hall of Fame, because when I think of gaming, I don't necessarily my brain doesn't go to mobile gaming, because casual gaming to me is kind of almost a throwaway in my mind. But you start to realize, talking about it like this is like the impact it had on the gaming industry, because of how many people that it managed to reach out to that weren't necessarily gamers.
And you know what, and I hear what you're saying about that, but just to, think of some of the games that are in right now. Microsoft Solitaire, basically a casual game that came with every computer. The Oregon Trail, which we all learned something. We all played it in school. So these kind of casual type games, to your point though, are definitely starting to show their age, but in a good way, because it had to start somewhere. Yeah,
I wouldn't put Oregon Trail in that category, but I would definitely say that Solitaire definitely.
I see what you're talking about. You're right. I was thinking computer.
Oregon Trail is more like a text-based.
You're right. All right, so let me just go back to the finalists. Well, all right, so we touched on 2 games, Bejeweled and Snake. How are you feeling right now about their their finalist status? I think Snake absolutely belongs.
I actually think Snake belongs just for the sheer breadth of what it covered. However, Bejeweled has a good standing as well, because you're talking about a game that basically defined a casual game genre. Like, without Bejeweled, to your point, we don't. You talked about like Pokemon Puzzle League and stuff like that, but from Bejeweled we get stuff like Candy Crush.
Correct. And I think to your point, you could say Bejeweled helped the mobile side of it.
Yes.
2013 downloaded more than 500 million times. And that's the actual Bejeweled game. In fact, I think I even have Bejeweled on like the Xbox 360. I think it was like a free download or something.
Yeah, no, I have it too on my 360. Bejeweled Blitz, it's called. Yes. But it's just because it's there. But that's what I'm saying. It's like it kind of gave it didn't give birth to, but it made that genre what it is today. And you can name any. I mean, you can almost name any like. Kind of style or franchise or something like that. They've done a version of that game. I have a WWE version of Bejeweled.
WWE Champion, yep.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much what it is. It's Bejeweled with a wrestling facelift. I
can see. So you can say then the popularity of, I think, or you're saying the popularity of Bejeweled and Snake, in fact, because they've inadvertently made so many clones of these type of games that they absolutely are deserving to be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I think they deserve the status.
Okay. Alrighty, cool.
But we'll see what else is on the list to see if they deserve it.
Exactly. So coming up next, When it debuted in 1981, Atari's Centipede challenged players to blast an insect as it zigzagged across the screen in challenging patterns and at various speeds. Centipede, I mean, it's just an arcade staple of the early 80s.
Oh yeah, no, and I remember playing that game like crazy as a kid in the arcade, and eventually on my Atari when I got it. Of course, didn't look as good on the Atari compared to the arcade.
But at the time, it was worth it.
At the time, it didn't matter.
Yep.
I was like, I had it in my home. I didn't have to beg my parents for quarters
exactly.
to go play it. So I was perfectly fine with it. Between Centipede and then Millipede as well.
The sequel, Millipede. Yep.
Yeah, Millipede. I remember Millipede being more challenging because the Millipede was faster.
Yes, yeah. And, of course, that also, learning what a centipede is and what a millipede is at that point.
Yeah, exactly. And Centipede was a great game. I mean, again, it's one of those ones even now, like if you have Atari Classics on your PS4 or something like that. Yeah, exactly. It's a game that you can very easily find, and it's a great way to throw away 5 or 10 minutes.
Here's an interesting, I didn't realize this. Co-designed by Donna Bailey, D-O-N-A, I guess Donna Bailey, one of the only female programmers in the 1980s arcade video game industry. The game helped attract more women into the arcade. So, especially during the 80s, you would think these arcades were just dominated by, teenage boys, which for the most part they were. But, hearing, with a female lead designer or co-designer, that brings in not only a whole another half actually of society to play games, but I'm sure the arcade owners were like, sweet, that's just more money coming in.
Yeah, impact value, basically.
Exactly. And then, of course, Centipede, most recently, every time I think of Centipede now, I think of Pixels, the movie Pixels from a few years ago, Adam Sandler movie. It was fun.
To this day, I still haven't seen.
Really? I mean, again, it's not going to win any Oscars. It's not going to blow you out of the seat. But for what they did and the nostalgia factor, I still love that movie for that matter. And there's a great Centipede scene in it that does it justice. So
okay. I'll get around to it at some point.
That's what's good about
free time.
That's what's good about Pixels. It does all the games that they feature justice. Okay, so cool. It's pretty cool. All right, so Centipede. I personally wasn't a fan of the game. I'm not saying it's a bad game. I never really played it that much.
What, Centipede?
Centipede.
Okay. All right. Well, it's one of those ones where you just had to have a appeal towards it. Okay. I mean, it's like any game. I mean, there are some games that you find more appealing than others. Centipede was definitely one of the arcade cabinets I would hit up in the arcade when I was there.
All right. Next up. Released first by Konami as an arcade game. Well, duh, right? Frogger challenged players to navigate a frog through oncoming traffic and over a river, combining simple mechanics with increasingly difficult gameplay. Frogger, I absolutely played whenever I saw this cabinet in the arcade.
Yes, as did I. I mean, that was just a no-brainer. In fact, I think Frogger was maybe one of the first. No, it wouldn't have been one of the first games. I think it was one of the earlier games that I got on my Atari 2600 because that port was actually pretty solid. Yeah,
there's really not much to it. You got the frog, you got the traffic, you got the logs, a couple of alligators every now and again. The simplicity of Frogger, it was just, you would think it's so simple, but it's so difficult at times.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's always going to be a challenge to it because as the boards went on, the traffic got a little bit faster. There was that one lane that had the race cars, I would call them.
Yes.
That would just come out of nowhere, and then of course the crocodile that would show up, or that would show up in the on the end there when you're trying to jump in, or even in the water going across, like they had them. So with what they had to work with, it was a very clever game.
Yes, and remember back then there were no final level, so all that did was just get harder and harder and harder.
Yeah, I still don't understand what it meant when you got the white frog that would turn you white. I didn't understand if it just gave you extra points or did it make you go faster? I think it made you go faster.
I don't remember white frog. I know you got a bug or something that you jumped on or jumped on your back, and that gave you bonus points.
Nah, there was one where,
A
like,
white
sometimes
frog.
on the water scene where the logs are going across, there would be a frog walking back and forth, and when you grabbed it, it was a white frog, and when you grabbed it, it did something, and I don't remember what it was. I don't know if it made you go faster or not, but it did something.
I that's the first time hearing that.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay.
Well,
that's
something for you to look at.
absolutely. We'll have to check that out later.
But if I were to pick, since they both came out around the same time, let's say Frogger and Centipede,
Oh, yeah.
I would lean towards Frogger.
Me too. I would too. In fact, let's see. Game launched more than 25 official and unofficial sequels and reboots. One of them actually on the PlayStation. Remember PlayStation for a while was kind of like rebooting these games
Yes.
like Pong and all them. Frogger was one of them and was a really good port. There's even an official Frogger sequel or a remake or whatever you want to call it now on Apple Arcade that's exclusive to Apple Arcade.
Oh,
and it is
that's pretty
Frogger.
cool.
Yeah.
I never took advantage of those reboots on PlayStation. I think it was PS2, right? That really did that.
No,
PlayStation?
original PS1. Yep.
Oh wow, okay, yeah. I never took advantage of this. I used to buy all the classic collections, but I never 25 different versions of Frogger. They can make that many.
Yeah, honestly. Let's see what else we got. Frogger has been the subject of a song by the band Bad Religion. That's interesting.
Nice.
I didn't know that. I got to go back and check that out.
I gotta check that out too. That would definitely be 80s.
Featured in Walt Disney's Wreck-It Ralph. And
That I
perhaps most famously, and I love this episode, it was a centerpiece, 1988, that's not true, probably a 98 episode, centerpiece of an episode of Seinfeld.
Oh yeah, that would have to be 98.
Yeah,
So,
that was a little typo. That was the best. The pizza shop was closing up. George had the high score, and his name was still in there, which we all know is impossible because when the power goes out, all that resets. Yeah. But and then he was trying to get it across the street, and they do a top-down view, and you see George with the machine basically doing Frog. It's hysterical. Great episode.
I guess I should see that episode.
It's a good one. It's a really good one. All right. Next up. Oh, this is... I gotta say, Anthony doesn't know the list. Obviously, I'm looking at it here. This one's gotta be...
I'm actually grabbing a little Post-it to write them down so I can make some selections later.
All right, so where are we?
So we have Snake, we have Bejeweled.
Centipede, and Frogger right now.
Centipede and Frogger.
12 in total. And we're going to do a couple more here right off the bat.
Yeah, go for it. What you got? Because we haven't hit the real consoles yet.
No, how dare you? An arcade is a real console.
No, you know what I mean, like the real home consoles.
No, I know. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, we are about right now, and it's funny this one comes up because you have mentioned many times how this is a great game, but you never played it. The Nintendo 64's GoldenEye 007 stormed into living rooms in 1997 and proved that the first-person shooter game could succeed on the home console.
Yeah, and as proven by the Predator demo I played last night on PlayStation 4, I am still not equipped for first-person shooters.
I got to download that. It's not on Xbox, actually. It seems like a PS4 exclusive.
Yeah,
so I'll have to download that.
I think it's going to be. It's being created by Ilphonic, the company that made the Friday the 13th multiplayer.
Oh, okay. All right,
game.
Cool.
I'll reserve my judgment at the moment, but from the demo itself, it's not wowing me.
Right,
but
again,
also a big portion of it is first-person shooting. And I can play maybe 2 or 3 rounds before I get a headache.
There you go. So, but I know you still appreciate GoldenEye, and you understand the impact that this game had for not only the N64, but just gaming at home and gaming as a group.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I mean, I think you can credit GoldenEye as one of the first games to really up the multiplayer experience. It was like basically playing Doom. Right? Or Wolfenstein with 3 friends.
Absolutely. This got me through college.
Got a lot of people through college.
It did. It was one of the top... I mean, I can say that Mario Party, and at least on the 3rd floor of Earl Hall over there on Delphi University campus, Pokemon Puzzle League was also very popular during the late 90s and early 2000s. But GoldenEye was just that. I am not 100% sure I think I beat it. I think I beat it, but I can't guarantee. I may have to put that one on the list.
Okay.
But the single player was fantastic, but that multiplayer was phenomenal. And we're talking, folks, old school screen split, just 4 screen. You saw everyone's, screen, what they were doing. And, you can play different versions of the game. They had the Man with the Golden Gun, which was a kill with 1 shot. And then I remember we would play like prison rules, which meant if you didn't have a gun, too bad. You were still getting shot at. Because sometimes you'd try and lay down like house rules.
Right.
But it was, GoldenEye was fantastic. And based on, at least for me personally, one of my favorite 007 movies.
Well, yeah, and again, 007 has been that's one of the, even film wise, like I've never been a huge James Bond fan. Okay. I've only seen a handful of movies. GoldenEye is not one of them.
Pierce Brosnan? No. Okay.
No, I've definitely not seen GoldenEye. I saw the really bad one with Halle Berry though.
What, The World Is Not Enough, I think.
Yeah,
Tomorrow Never Dies.
I just know that just seeing the surfing scene was enough to turn me off on the film. I was like, okay. I was like, this is garbage. But just me. I've never been a big James Bond fan. So GoldenEye for me, even though it was a first-person shooter and it didn't work for me because of my brain, it was not a game that appealed to me because it was based off of a franchise that, again, didn't appeal to me. So it was just one of those things where it didn't line up for me. However, again, the gravity of this game and the importance of this game and how it defined the genre, it's just, it's worthy of inclusion in the Hall of Fame.
And what's great about this one is it was remade later on for the Wii. And it was GoldenEye. And what was great is basically the exact same game. It came packed in. It came with a gold Wii Classic controller, which is very fun.
Nice.
But what they did was, even though it's still called GoldenEye, came out during the Wii, and Daniel Craig was James Bond, so they replaced Pierce Brosnan with Daniel Craig in the game, and they just kept going with it, which I thought was pretty interesting.
I'd say that was a good move.
Pierce Brosnan, though, was my favorite Bond, and I know I'm going to get a lot of hate for that.
Is he?
Whatever. Honestly, I love Pierce Brosnan.
Okay.
I'm not saying the others.
I can't. Wait. I can't really talk to it. I just know every other Bond fan would probably kill you.
Oh, probably. Connery and Moore were fantastic. Timothy Dalton, but for me, it was Pierce Brosnan.
Okay.
So we'll.
Fair enough.
I'll wait for the comments on that one.
Boy.
Okay, and then one more here, and then we're just going to take a quick little break here, but we're going to talk about this one. This, again, spawned a lot, so let's go right into it. Launched in 2005, Harmonix's Guitar Hero challenged players to unleash their inner rock star by following on-screen notes and strumming to the beat of popular music on a plastic guitar.
Yes, and you know how I feel about Guitar Hero.
It's and let's back up for 1 second. I think it was before the Castlevania episodes. One before that, we were talking about amplitude, and we were talking about frequency. Oh, maybe when we were live on Instagram. Which, by the way, Instagram, check us out, Retro Gamers Podcast. Randomly, me and Anthony are going to hop on there, do a live, just to talk and interact with people during this whole time. So be on the lookout for that. But yeah, and amplitude and frequency, which now that I have my PS2 hooked up, I can't wait. I got to find those games. Those at first, before we get into Guitar Hero, those games are very addicting with the rhythm-based hit the button at the and time with the music.
Yeah, I mean, they kind of took a concept that to me started in my gaming experience. Kind of started with Parappa the Rapper on PlayStation 1.
Fair enough. Yep.
Where you had to press things in time.
Yeah.
And so, but then, when Frequency came out, not only was it different in the sense of you were only focusing on hitting the notes, like there wasn't an overall gameplay outside of it. It was just, you're playing the song, you're hitting the notes, and you're choosing which ones you're hitting. Like, in other words, like you had tracks for guitar, drums, singing, but they licensed music. So you were playing actual songs you heard on the radio. So there was huge interest in that. And now fast forward to Guitar Hero, where you're literally playing, you're not playing a real guitar, but you're playing a controller-based version of guitar for these songs. And I'll never forget Guitar Hero, the first one, yes, monumental. The second one, the track list on the second one was amazing. And then they topped that for me when they came out with Rocks the 80s.
Yeah.
Because Rocks the 80s, I basically played until my fingers, quote unquote, bled. Which in that case would be carpal tunnel.
Guitar Hero, I think I got in on it probably like Guitar Hero 2. I don't think I really played the original Guitar Hero. But Guitar Hero, you talking about like those spin-offs. Guitar Hero Aerosmith, Guitar Hero The Beatles, AC/DC Live. I loved that one.
Yep. Metallica, I think, had one too, didn't they?
Careful, we may be dipping into Rock Band. So,
okay.
But still, Rock Band, though, is all part of that genre.
I was going to say, without Guitar Hero, we may not have gotten Rock Band.
Correct. And Rock Band introduced a bass, drums, singing. And, you mentioned you were not playing with a real guitar. There is a game, though. I think it's called Rockstar or something, or Rocksmith.
Rocksmith, where you actually hook up a real guitar.
Yes.
I wanted to pick up that game just to see if I can learn how to play a guitar game. Because a long time ago, I tried playing guitar, and I failed miserably.
Me too. Way long ago. Also because the guy didn't want to teach me because I was left-handed. But with Rocksmith, I think you're not going to probably learn, like you'll learn basic stuff. And I guess as you keep doing it, you'll get the hang of it. But if you're already playing a guitar, like people I know who already are good at guitar cannot play Rocksmith because you have to go through the tutorial and it's just, it's too slow for them. Right. It's too basic. But Guitar Hero, probably one of the few games, eventually Activision took it over, that has quite literally appeared on every console that was available at the time, including mobile. I had it on DS. Which is
I remember that. Yeah, no, it spanned every single console, so there was you couldn't get away from it. And that was the great thing about it, because Guitar Hero just made you feel like you were part of the music.
Absolutely.
Well,
not only that, but eventually remember the downloadable tracks.
Yes. Oh, yeah. When we started getting there, then it was like the sky was the limit.
Absolutely.
Again, like rock, I mean, not to take away from Guitar Hero, but like I have over 500 songs on my Rock Band, in my Rock Band collection that my friends and I have played up until maybe like 6 months ago. I think 6 months ago we actually pulled it all out and played, played Rock Band again because it's just fun.
Absolutely.
Started with Guitar Hero.
Guitar Hero series has sold more than 25 million units worldwide and more than 60 million tracks. I don't know what that means.
Nice.
Earning more than $2 billion.
Wow.
So that's a lot of money. So Guitar Hero, putting it on the list. Again, I feel like it's definitely worthy of the Hall of Fame. We'll see as far as if it's worthy for 2020, seeing what the rest, we have 6 more to talk about, which we will in a moment. We're going to take just a quick break. I mean, it's going to be real quick for you, because it's probably just going to be instantaneous, but we'll be back to talk about the rest of the 2020 Hall of Fame, Video Game Hall of Fame.
All right, Larry, it is time for this week's Retro Birthday. Okay. I have a really extra special retro birthday for us this week.
All right, what comes out?
Normally our retro birthdays focus on a specific game or console, but I would like to point out this week's retro birthday. It happens to be something a little bit beyond that. We are celebrating the 40th retro birthday of one Mr. Larry Mormon. Well, I mean, come on. We talk about retro birthdays all the time. We are the retro gamers, so I think this is a perfect opportunity for me and for everybody else to recognize a very special, monumental occasion.
Oh, God, yeah.
The 4-0. How are you feeling about this? Because when this episode drops, you will have turned 40 yesterday.
No, 2 days. Yesterday. Yeah, that's right. It drops on the 31st. Yeah, well, I don't feel a day over 30. 39, I should say. It's going to be interesting, or I guess it will feel interesting. Not the way I wanted to celebrate it, but we'll take it for what it's worth right now. Especially because I had so much planned for my 40th birthday. So we may have to do a big 41st birthday as far as that together.
Well, but you can do a 40 plus 1.
This is true. This is true. 40 and a half. No, I do appreciate that. It's 40 years. It's a long time, and I'm feeling every bit of it. But, doing stuff like this with the podcast, especially with you, talking about retro games, all the pops behind me, you probably wouldn't even think I'm 40. But, it's the aches and pains are there, but, but as long as we're still here doing the podcast. But I appreciate that, so thank you very much.
Okay.
Cheers.
Cheers to you, Larry,
Cheers.
and that has been this week's Retro Birthday.
Oh, yeah, my mother's favorite. All right, so we're back. We are going to continue on. We have 6 more nominees, if you will, finalists, actually, as they're called, for the 2020 Video Game Hall of Fame. If you're just tuning in right now to the podcast or YouTube, I don't know why you're jumping halfway in, but you're doing what you're doing. So, Ant, what are the first 6 that we went over already?
All right, so the first 6 games that have been nominated for the Hall of Fame this year are Snake, Bejeweled, Centipede, Frogger, GoldenEye, and Guitar Hero.
All right.
So
very insect heavy in the beginning, but then we saw branching out.
Yeah, exactly. We
Animal.
Yeah, we were very insect amphibian driven in a way. But yeah, so now we got another 6 to go, Larry. So let's kick it off.
Let's get right into it. All right. So let's see. If I'm not mistaken, this may be our first not only, but our first PC game, designed by Sierra Online co-founder Roberta Williams. King's Quest from 1984 introduced players to a fantastical world of Daventry.
Yes, King's Quest. I loved King's Quest.
Did you play it?
Yes, I did.
Oh, thank goodness, because I've never played this game, and I kind of thought this was going to be the one that we were going to kind of stumble through.
No, we're probably going to stumble through it a little bit, because I don't remember which one I played, if it was like 4 or 5, but I had a King's Quest set. In fact, I got to see if I still have it in my good. So this is my PC game binder that I've had since the early to mid.
Yeah, you had. I remember that from back in the day.
Yeah, I've never gotten rid of it, and it's funny when I go through this and I see like the discs that I stuffed in here, because a lot of them aren't really PC games.
So some of it's cheating.
No, what?
Some of it's cheating.
Well, no, but here it is. Right here.
Oh, yeah, look at that.
Collection. Right there.
Nice.
So, I did have the King's Quest collection. I bought this back in, this was for Windows 2000 XP. So this was kind of somewhere around 2000 that I bought that.
Okay.
But what was really cool about it was, they were just these really cool, I almost want to say they looked 8-bit adventures. And here comes a cat. Pillow. Go to your pillow.
I don't think she's interested. There she goes.
There, pillow. No, pillow.
Podcast.
Yeah, we're podcasting. You don't want to be on? Okay. So King's Quest was just really, again, I didn't get too far into the games, I'm not going to lie. But they were really interesting in the sense of when they came out around the time, when they came out in the 80s, they were very... they were just special games because you got to go on literally like this fantasy style quest throughout the land of Daventry. And you run into all of these encounters and stuff like that. And it was just kind of a fun new way of playing, because it was also one of the games first game I remember playing, where it's like you walked off screen to a new screen.
Okay.
And it was
like
just
what
really
your cat's
cool.
doing right now.
Yeah, basically.
Walking off screen to a new screen.
My water.
So the fairy tale setting. maybe next time give your animal some water.
But she just drank water from her bowl, and now it's like, oh, that's yours? No, it's mine.
That's fresh water. So the fairy tale setting, unique visuals, and irrelevant humor. Irreverent humor helped to make the game a hit on personal computers and popularized the graphic adventure genre. That's why I never played it. I just never was, and even today, just not into PC gaming. Just not me. Stop teasing your cat, because now it's on video.
I'm not teasing her. She just you won't like Britta.
There she goes.
No Britta for you.
Only toilet water for the cats.
Here, go to your pillow.
So, Sierra Online produced 7. All right, this cat is going to produced 7 sequels, and the game influenced dozens of adventure games that followed, and established Williams, that's Roberta Williams, as one of the most significant game designers of the 80s and 90s.
Yes. So again, not that much experience with it, but from when I remember again, I probably haven't played it in like 25 years.
Fair
but
enough.
they did release a. Oh, she's mad. They did release a. They released a newer version of King's Quest on the PS4 and Xbox One, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so. I was just trying to look it up as we were talking here.
Yeah.
There was, where did it go? King's Quest, the Complete Collection, came out in 2015. Let's see. And then there were other versions. I can't find it right off the bat, but I'm pretty sure I thought I saw something like that. Like a remake almost, or a reboot of sorts. Here we go. King's Quest.
Yeah,
Epilogue.
it was King's Quest episodic reimagining by the Odd Gentleman in 2015.
Yep. Actually came out PS3, PS4, Xbox 360, and Xbox One. All right, there we go. So
yeah, and it was it was really cool. Like obviously with updated graphics and everything like that. It's just kind of fun.
Now, I mean, I'm not going to say it's a terrible game. It's just, for me, I probably wouldn't look to put this one into the Hall of Fame. Again, personally, I'm not a PC gamer, but be that as it may, I know there's a lot of top-quality PC games. But King's Quest doesn't jump out at me. I'm familiar with the name, but I mean, I'm not going to be disappointed if it goes in. All these games are deserving in some way, shape, or form. Yeah. But for me personally, I'd probably skip King's Quest.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's, again, when I look at all the other ones on the list at this point.
So far, yeah.
Yeah, so far, I fail to see the impact, or it doesn't have the impact like the other ones do.
Fair enough. All right, so moving on. With its endless play possibilities, Minecraft has become a global phenomenon since its introduction in 2009. As of 2019, the game has sold more than 176 million copies across all platforms, with more copies sold for console than for personal computers. I'm actually shocked at that.
I am not, because Minecraft tends to skew younger, and I think just younger people play on console more than on PC.
I wonder if they're counting tablets as a console.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Because that's where I kind of see it more with kids on tablets and stuff.
Yeah, I can see that too.
Yeah.
Have you ever gotten into Minecraft?
I played it for a little while, actually on Xbox. Xbox 360, I think I played it on. It's awesome. I mean, first of all, it's one of the first, if not the first, what's called sandbox games, where you just create the game. It also was one of the first ones to kind of popularize that, like, low grade, even though it's not really low grade, you can play it in high def, but like that low grade blocky look that makes it look very 8-bit. Because after that, first Minecraft came out, everything almost started going to that 8-bit look to it, that blocky look.
Yeah.
But I tried playing it again. I know there's an adventure mode in there somewhere. In fact, just last night I was just going through YouTube, and on the PC version of Minecraft, you can actually download a mod where you can make. It blows my mind how this works. I still haven't figured it out. A 1-to-1 scale of the planet Earth in Minecraft.
Wow.
I'm saying that correctly. 1-to-1 scale of planet Earth.
But why? I guess.
Just to do it. Like, I mean, someone's not making it by hand. It imports stuff from Google Maps and everything. Right. But because they were using the Mount Everest as an example, where with this mod, with this hack, you can actually climb Mount Everest, like its actual height. So,
well, maybe I should get Minecraft just to do that, because I'm not doing it in real life.
But even though I never played Minecraft, I definitely understand the impact it's had on gaming.
Oh, yeah.
Especially for the younger kids, where now Minecraft is used as like a teaching tool for kids with programming.
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, again, to your point, I mean, it's a sandbox. It's
Mhm.
literally a sandbox. It's like you go in there and you build whatever you want to, whatever you want.
Yeah.
It's just amazing. And if you search online, you can see some amazing things that have been built in it. I remember seeing the Legend of Zelda, the original Legend of Zelda, like built in there, or somebody tried building Legend of Zelda in Minecraft as a 3D based game.
Interesting.
The original one. Yeah, and then Nintendo went after that, of course.
Absolutely.
It's because that's what they do. But yeah, I guess the most important thing to point out with Minecraft, not only for 176 million downloads is huge, but again, kind of creating a whole new genre, like this whole sandbox genre that didn't exist really before. Unless, again, you were a computer programmer.
Yeah, exactly. Led to Roblox, led to, you can kind of say Super Mario Maker, maybe in a way, with the idea of that sandbox type thing.
Right. Well, if that's the case, then I want to rewind all the way to Excitebike on
That's
the
true.
NES.
Yes.
Excitebike used to have a build-your-own course.
It did. That's right.
Aha!
There you go. So Minecraft, out of the running. So I think Minecraft absolutely deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. I think because of how it is.
Yes.
Oh, boy.
Now it's pillow time. Is it pillow time now?
Is it pillow time or lap time?
I have no idea. I've been home so much. Like half the time the cats are like, "Why the hell are you still here?" And then the other half is, "Pay attention to me." So this is the pay attention to me portion of the day.
There you go. So with Minecraft, I think the fact that it is expanded out of just regular gameplay and into, like I said, schools that are teaching programming with Minecraft. There's Minecraft summer camps. Again, for kids to learn how to use and not just to play the game, they're using it as a teaching tool. I don't know all the details on how Minecraft is used as a teaching tool. All I know is that I've heard it's been successful.
Yeah, and again, and that's the type of thing. Also, like when you think about impact, like this has actually become part of education. It's like an educational program. So you can't really say that about that many games.
Yeah.
Again,
absolutely.
you brought up Oregon Trail earlier. As like educational type, a game
totally
that they played in schools. Well, now you have a game that you bring in where you're teaching kids how to program, essentially.
So, So we're recording. I've got to point this out. I got this message on my phone. We're recording on March 29th, obviously in the heart of everything that's happening right now. Right now, he's got a notice from Fox Sports. Every once in a while, if a game is starting or something, which right now we have no sports. But NASCAR is doing NASCAR iRacing Pro Invitational Series. They're
awesome.
doing virtual racing.
Yeah. Well, I was waiting to see when esports were going to pop up during this time, because that's probably the only thing that can happen right now, because everybody can do it remotely.
I'm done. You know what? I'm going to have to look that up later. I'm curious to see what that looks like.
How about WWE 2K20 WrestleMania?
Maybe. Wait a minute. Look at that. Hold on. I'm sorry. Are they playing an actual game here?
That's awesome.
I can't see if they're playing an actual game.
What they need to do is they need to actually get the real race drivers to do it.
No. They are.
Oh, they are? Is that who's doing it? Wow. Okay, that's kind of cool.
The 4 drivers moving in will join 31 former or active drivers from the NASCAR Cup Series for the main event. Should any Cup drivers add or drop late? Blah, 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 blah. That is crazy. I wish I knew what actual game they're using. That's kind of awesome. That's funny. All right. Well, that's where we're at right now, folks. So.
Okay. Soon to be in the Hall of Fame.
Interesting. Yeah, right. Okay. So up next, speaking of sports, Midway Games NBA Jam, mixed gravity-defying slam dunks, frantic gameplay, over-the-top commentary, and a roster of real NBA stars.
Boom shakalaka.
Or let me read that verbatim. And roster of real National Basketball Ball Association stars. All right, whatever. This is some interesting facts. Let me read the rest of it here. Released first to the arcades in 1993, it earned operators $1 billion in revenue in its first year and became one of the most important sports arcades games of all time. Later entered millions of homes on console systems and spawned 3 sequels. Its success led Midway Games to create an entire sports arcade game division, which ran from 97 to 2012.
Okay, now geez, I mean, you can basically see how much that meant for the industry at the time. NBA Jam, I've never been a basketball fan.
Yeah, neither have I.
Not my sport. Not my sport. Did not stop me from playing NBA Jam. It was probably the only basketball game I've ever owned. Or probably the last basketball game I've ever owned. Because I remember having a couple on like the Sega Genesis.
Yeah, they had like Jordan versus Bird or Bulls versus Blazers.
Yeah,
like
those
that.
I had.
Yeah.
But I got to say, NBA Jam, it was just fun. Just flat out fun.
I think I played it on a home console first before actually playing in the arcade. When I started in the arcade, I wasn't drawn to it, but playing at home, and it was also, I remember NBA Jam being one of the first multiplayer games that I seriously played with friends, because this was before high school, so before I met you, on the Super Nintendo with the 4-player adapter. Yeah. So I remember doing that. NBA Jam, the style of it, actual game, basketball players in 2-on-2. Yes, it is wackiness, but you always had what's his face? Oh, I can't remember the commentator's name. He's heating up. He's on fire. And then the classic boom shakalaka. What the hell was that guy's name?
Yeah, I mean that was all part of the appeal of that game. That was all part of the fun. Also, and again, it was super. It was just really exciting because it was fast. It used to go really, really fast. Yeah,
it wasn't because the rules. The gameplay was arcade. It wasn't an actual. Yeah. It wasn't a simulation.
Right.
All right, I'm going to have to find that guy's name later. It's going to bug me who did the voiceover, but in any event, and of course also NBA Jam was one of the first arcade games and home console games. I remember having a plethora of unlockable players, unlockable codes, like the big head mode, or you know what, I'm going to try and look it up right now, some of the unlockable players that were in the game. Do you remember, they just had so many of them?
No, again, it's a game I probably haven't played since the arcade. I don't remember if I ever owned it on any console.
Oh, no? Oh, okay.
I'm trying to remember if I did. I mean, I remember playing it with friends, but it may have been because they had it, not me.
And remember also, on a side note, it did launch football, NFL Blitz, hockey, yes. 2-on-2 Open Ice Challenge.
I do remember that one.
And for baseball, MLB Slugfest. So there was a lot. I remember, the one, major name as far as unlockable was, at the time, President Bill Clinton.
Yes.
I remember him being very
nice. He was in there. Here, I have the list of the bonus characters.
Oh, I was trying to find it. Okay.
So Eric Samulski, Mark Turmel, Sal DeVita,
okay.
Jamie Rivet, Bill Clinton, Al Gore, who's also in it, Dan Weasel Feinstein, Asif Chow Chowdhury,
sure.
Tom Scruff Rademacher, Eric Kabuki Kubi, Warren Moon, George P. Funk Clinton.
Oh, yes, that's right.
And Air Dog.
I think also the Hornets mascot made it to one of the versions, and I just read they never made it to development, but they were thinking about putting in Godzilla and Bart Simpson.
Oh, that would have been cool. In later versions, you were able to play Barack Obama, Joe Biden.
Those are the newer ones, yeah.
The later one, and then the mascots. To your point. They had a whole bunch of those. Then they had original Jan team. You could also, again, to stick with the political theme, George W. Bush, Sarah Palin, John McCain, and Dick Cheney.
Well, I just threw everybody in. All right, fair enough.
They just.
This game, I think, definitely ushered in the sports arcade game, meaning just you go in, it's a short game, like you said.
Yeah.
You're not really playing with the traditional rules as much. But NBA Jam, I think, definitely deserving to be in.
I agree with that for sure.
All right. So this is one of two games where I feel like it's not the game series. I think we're talking about the literal game itself. And this is what I'm talking about. Super Smash Bros. Melee, specifically, appeared in 2001, and its appealing characters, tight control, and polished gameplay enabled Nintendo to sell more than 7 million copies, making it the best-selling game for the GameCube console.
That's not saying much.
Well, the GameCube, very underrated, as we've said before. So.
It was very underrated, and if it had more third-party support, I honestly think it would have been a bigger hit.
It had more first-party support probably as well, but be that as it may.
That's true, too. One of the first... Was it the first... It was the first Nintendo console to come out without a Mario game at launch.
At launch, yeah. At launch. So,
yeah, it started with Luigi's Mansion, if I remember correctly.
Yes, it did. That was exactly what it was. So, Smash Brothers Melee on the GameCube. So, I've gone on record saying I wasn't a fan of the Smash Brothers series at all until the Wii U. You had it on the N64. I remember we played it for a little while, but you loved it.
Yeah, I really loved it, and Melee was the one that kind of perfected it. Mm-hmm. Just in terms of they expanded the roster, it got the levels were cooler, the special abilities you had were great, and then on top of it, I mean, it made such an impact that even today you can still play in Super Smash Bros. Melee tournaments.
Oh yeah,
they still exist because. Yeah. Any Smash Brothers player will tell you that this is the definitive edition. Now, granted, I don't know where Ultimate weighs in because I absolutely love Ultimate.
Yeah, Ultimate's awesome.
But the impact that Melee had when they announced Ultimate, they actually came out with a GameCube controller for your Switch because they knew that there were still that many people who played Smash on the GameCube. I mean that just tells you everything. No, totally.
And if you're ever looking for a brand new GameCube controller, you can just buy that Switch controller and it'll play on the original GameCube as well, which I loved. I think what got me into the series on the Wii U was the fact that it was both on the Wii U and the 3DS at the same time. You can there's a little bit of interchange. You can use the 3DS as a controller on the Wii U, so that was kind of fun and everything. But Melee, I don't have much experience with Melee. I do understand that, yes, Melee really kicked the series into high gear. Also with the capability of the GameCube, better music, stuff like that. So I think Melee, as the representative for the entire series, I think is well deserving.
Yeah, no. If you had to pick one Smash Brothers game, you definitely want to pick Melee.
I think that's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah, because the original one, they were just kind of laying the groundwork and figuring it out, and then Melee just really hit they hit their stride there.
Absolutely. All right, two more to go. All
right, what we got?
So this is the other one where specifically it's this game, and again, unfortunately, I really haven't played the series, but released by Naughty Dog in 2009, Uncharted 2. Was a sequel to Uncharted Drake's Fortune, a rollicking adventure and treasure hunting game. Now, the sequel set a new standard for adventure games with slick storytelling, lush graphics, this was on the PS3, and compelling characters. It earned critical acclaim, including Game of the Year at the Game Developers Conference, and sold more than 6 million copies.
Oh man, we should have brought our friend and super fan Frankie on the show today because he just played through Uncharted 1 and 2.
Oh, did he? I didn't even realize he did that. Okay.
he did. Because I think I want to say the collection was one of the free games recently on PlayStation.
And I have it. Yeah, I downloaded it.
Yeah, so I downloaded it as well. I will admit I've never played any Uncharted games. They are again on a very long list of games that I want to play. But I do remember the popularity of Uncharted 2. Because, again, it's one of those things where the first one kind of lays the groundwork and then the second one soars. You see that with a lot of games when they come out. It's like the first one is like, okay, we're going to put this out and fingers crossed it does well. And then, obviously, when it does well, it's like, okay, now we need to up the ante here. And we got to make it – how can we make this better? And Uncharted 2, to your point, I mean, so many games come out every year. To win Game of the Year now – that's a big deal.
Absolutely.
It's a huge so
I think
I could say more to it, but I can't.
I think there's been talks about Tom Holland playing as Drake in a big screen version of Uncharted, so we'll see. But that's the impact it's having right now.
Yeah. well, who knew Spider-Man could be Drake as well? So,
So all right, so Uncharted 2 definitely it hits. It's a very popular game. Maybe not in my list. Sounds like in either one of our lists of Hall of Famers, but it's definitely if it goes in, it's justifiable.
yeah, I can understand why.
In a way, exactly.
Oh.
So all right, so we have the last game on here, and I think this will clue you in, as even though it's not directly related to the game, it's an amazing offshoot of the game, and memories for all of us.
Wow. You can stop that now.
Yes. Released by Border Bond. I can never pronounce that. In 1995. I thought it was a little earlier than that. Where in the world is Carmen Sandiego spawned one of the best-selling edutainment franchises?
No question about it.
Let's see. Designed for the first generation of graphic-enabled personal computers, the title made learning world geography fun for millions of students as they searched for the whereabouts of the mysterious Carmen Sandiego. Of course, the various sequels. Where in Time is Carmen Sandiego. I think there was another one. Maybe Where in Space. I'm not 100% sure. And of course, the amazing game show that was on public access television.
Yeah, I remember the game show on PBS. Obviously, the group that sang the theme song for it, Rockapella. Yep, which was really awesome. And then not only that, I want to say now 2 animated series based off of it.
I know of at least one. Oh, there's been various.
Well, I was going to say, I know of one because I worked at the company who made it.
That was the earlier one, right?
Right, that was the first one. But then recently... Recently, there was a new series for Carmen Sandiego.
Yes, there is.
A year or two ago.
Yeah, I think it's running right now. That one kind of drives me a little batty because she's actually on a good side, not a criminal. So, but be that as it may. But no, Carmen Sandiego, I definitely on the NES. Let's talk about because this is like the computer version.
Yeah.
But if you remember on the NES, it came with an encyclopedia.
Yep, because I had Where in Time as Carmen Sandiego.
Yeah, that's the one.
So,
that's the one.
Yeah, so I had the encyclopedia that came with it.
I mean, it was a thick encyclopedia too.
It was, and the game itself was insanely short. I mean, you can get through a round of Carmen Sandiego in like 5 or 10 minutes. Because it was really, I mean, you just had to know where to find her. That's all. Like, and you would follow her trail. But again. Very talking about edutainment. There weren't that many games. I mean, you had like your really, really like preschool-y kind of games, like you had your Sesame Streets and stuff like that. But this was one that kind of took it another step, where it's like you were appealing to a little bit of an older kid, and you were making it a fun mystery kind of game, which was. I just think the two of them combined were just a really slam dunk.
Totally.
Not to pun NBA Jam.
I actually knew someone who was on the game show.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, did. I don't think he got past the first round. But
that's okay, because I got to say, the bonus round in that game show, when you had to pick out like the cities, the cities or the states or whatever it was, I always felt so bad when kids got Africa, because I didn't know where anything was in Africa when I was watching that show. So I always marveled at kids that would win with the Africa with the Africa board, because I was like, wow, I was like, that's some good geography right there.
And then they get the United States, like this is a piece of cake. But here's the thing, I don't think anyone ever realized. When they're playing the game, they're looking at the map upside down. So I'm just saying.
No. Kudos to anybody who could finish that. But anyway, but again, it's a game that spawned so many things, to the point where Carmen Sandiego, you bring that name up to anybody, and majority of the population will know who she is.
I think going like Carmen Sandiego, Oregon Trail, those two definitely are on the same page, and that's why Carmen Sandiego, I think, absolutely deserving to be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, no. I can see why it's on the list for sure.
And and with that, those are the 12 finalists.
How many get in? Do we know?
I believe 6, because it was saying something like the top 3 votes go into a ballot, and then the top 3... Oh, you know what? Maybe it's only 4, because now that I'm looking at it, past years, you know what? It varies.
Well, you know what? Let's say, Larry, pick your 4. Okay. What are your 4? I'm looking at the list right now. Pick your 4.
I got to go back. Hold on. Here it is. Okay, so I am going to say absolutely Carmen Sandiego.
Okay.
I am going to say GoldenEye.
Okay.
I'm going to say Snake, because that was revolutionary for cell phones.
Got it.
Ooh, and the 4th one, I gotta go with Frogger, just with its iconic.
Okay. Yeah, I think. I think for once we're really, really close in what we're looking at here, because I went with Snake, Frogger, Carmen Sandiego, but then instead of GoldenEye, again, because that's for my own personal preference, I gotta go with Guitar Hero.
Fair enough.
Yep, those are my 4. I think stuff like Minecraft and Uncharted are a little too young to go into the Hall of Fame yet. I want them to mature a little bit like wine before they pop in there.
Here, we may have talked about it in the past. So here's the criteria, because you can actually nominate games. That's how these games are picked, or because they're nominated. You go to the website worldvideogamehalloffame.org. You can start nominating for the 2021 edition, and here there's 4 criteria. Icon status, which all of these have an iconic status.
Yep.
Longevity. This is what you're talking about. Like what constitutes. That's our. Yes. We've been talking about with the classic episodes going up. We just spoke about in like episode 3 or 4 what constitutes classic gaming. So that one, that's going to be a little bit. Geographical reach. You know, some of these games you could be. Doesn't matter where you live, you're going to recognize these games. And influence, which again they all have. Yeah,
that's why I can see if I wouldn't be shocked if Minecraft got in this year. But again, like I said, I would want it to kind of hang out for a little bit longer.
Totally. So again, the Player's Choice, we can all vote. You can vote once a day, and you can vote for different games each day. The ballot will close on April 2nd. So when this drops, you still have a couple of days to at least vote. Every vote counts. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not sure when exactly they're going to announce them, but when they do announce them, we'll certainly let you know. And we'll take it from there. And that's basically for the 2020 Video Game Hall of Fame.
Very cool. A very, very, very good list.
Yes. And speaking of Games Hall of Fame, I got. I think we both got some stuff here that maybe not all of them make it to the Hall of Fame, but
no, not Hall of Fame. I managed to. I haven't. Obviously, we haven't been shopping that much because places are closed. But I ordered something. I ordered something over a month ago, and it wasn't supposed to get here until sometime in April, but it arrived early. And it's video game related, but not a video game, because I've been looking for I've been looking for something my backpack is really old and falling apart, and I use it every day for work because I take my laptop home with me, and I also use it for travel as well, because I travel a lot for my job. So I went online and I said, I want to get something. I want to get a new backpack that's easily definable and relatable to me. So naturally, I wind up with the Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild backpack.
That is awesome looking. Look at that.
That's really cool. This glows in the dark.
Oh, really?
This will actually glow blue.
Oh, that's cool.
Like the Breath of the Wild
like
logo.
The tablet, yeah.
Yeah, like the tablet, which is great. The Sheikah slate, actually. Yes. And what I find funny is that I didn't notice this when I bought it, but like there are all of these things on it.
Oh yeah, there's all those straps to keep it going.
Yeah, there's a lot of straps. There's a thing here for to hold a bottle for a drink and everything like that. And again, knowing my age, I noticed this. I said, "Well, look at this newfangled thing. It's got a USB."
Oh, look at that! It's like a rechargeable.
And then it's got a headphone jack.
That's pretty cool.
Which is cool. But now, I'll be damned if I know how you're supposed to charge it, though, because when I look at the other side, like, they give you the wires to install, but I guess I have to put I have to attach a battery to it, otherwise it's pointless.
I don't know. Did instructions come? It's weird to say. Did instructions come with your backpack?
No, it did not. I did not get instructions with the backpack, but look, it has, a slot for the computer and stuff. But no, I'm assuming what it is like there's a little net in here, so I can put a portable battery,
I guess, and
then
it just runs through,
and then just run it there. The other option I think I can do also, especially for like the headphone jack, is hook it up to my phone in my backpack.
Well, that definitely, yeah.
Yeah. So, but all in all, I mean, it was just a really cool thing. Very excited. I'm curious to see how it glows in the dark.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
But that also involves me having to put it out in the sun for a little while, so I've got some time.
Fair enough.
But yeah, that was the one thing I did pick up. Nothing game wise, unfortunately.
All right. Well,
except really quickly before you go.
I'm sorry.
There is a mega March sale going on right now.
Oh, okay.
On the PlayStation 4, so definitely check that out and see what's on sale. I believe in my cart currently I have Slender Man: The Arrival.
He was on
I'm going to download that. It is a whopping $2.50.
There you go.
Yeah.
So even if it's bad, it's still worth it.
There's also a sale going on the Switch, and there are a bunch of games on there for like under $1.
I saw Switch games. It's crazy. Some of these games drop like 90%, and it puts it under like a nickel.
Yes. So what did you get, Larry?
All right. So, well, first I just want to mention this. This I picked up on eBay. So I was on Facebook, and I was in a chat room, which I'll mention in a moment. Not a chat room, but a group. And they uploaded a video, which I never realized. First of all, this is the PlayStation Underground magazine, which came out in the late 90s, I believe, and there's 2 discs in here, 2 playable discs. So the magazine, they call it a magazine, but you play it on the PlayStation.
Got it.
It's loaded with a couple of demos, some interviews. When you mentioned Pa-Rappa the Rapper, what they used to do with this, they'd be codes. Like, they would actually tell you some codes, but there's also some codes or unlockable features, or whatever you want to call them, that you can download directly to your memory card. And one of them, I think, was Pa-Rappa the Rapper, where, if I remember it correctly, is it in here? You download, and it gets you to the end of the game with an unlockable, whatever the unlockable song is at the end.
That's really cool.
Yeah, so it was, cool. I didn't realize they did that back then. So it was pretty cool. But the reason why I got it was because this particular issue 1, Volume 2, featured Mystery Science Theater 3000.
Nice.
And I am a huge MST3K fan. And what they did was they, like when you boot the disc up, it's them. It's this for the MST3K fans. It's the Sci-Fi Channel era. So you see the 3 of them, Mike, Crow, and Tom, playing games, and then they go into the theater and they riff on a couple of like they riff on a PlayStation commercial that kept it was like the outtakes. Mm-hmm. So they'd riff on that, and they riffed on, I don't know what game it was, but they also riffed on like a game boot up screen or something like that. So it was actually really fun to watch, and really I got this just for that, the fact that, it was MST3K. So that's what I picked up. So PlayStation
Very
Underground.
Cool. Very, very nice.
The 2, there it is, 2 discs.
And a nice, interesting random thing to pick up.
Absolutely. And what's pretty cool is I think they mailed it as is, because there's the the post office. So I think you actually got this, like this, in the mail. So it was pretty cool.
Cool. Very cool.
And then, of course, this was amazing. So I got a call from Anthony recently. Game On, they were getting ready to unfortunately close up for the time being, but they were still doing some like curbside pickup and stuff like that. So Anthony was kind enough to call in for a game. Well, I thought it was a game for my birthday. Again, we were really a little trouble shopping. So he's like, I got you some, but you got to go out into the world and pick it up. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, sorry. I'm sorry you had to risk your life.
Don't worry about it. There's no worries. So I'm like, okay. So I go to the store. They hand it over to me. And then when I get home, I was floored. And I texted you, and I still mean it. I was floored. It's 2 Mega Man games, but they're homebrews. So we got Mega Man Gamma.
Nice.
And Mega Man Ultra. If you put them together, got this nice little kind of box together. I played one of these very briefly at Game On, and basically they're just harder versions, if you can imagine that, of Mega Man. Mega Man Ultra is kind of a harder version of Mega Man 2. And this one would be a harder version of Mega Man 3. They were both created by Dufar C, is the creator's name. And what's cool about this is I didn't play through all the levels, but I know for a fact that Mega Man Ultra Woodman level is Super Mario Bros. World 1-1.
Really?
That's how different it is. These aren't just
awesome.
Harder versions of the games.
Okay.
They are different versions of the game.
That's really cool. Well, and it's funny because when I called them, I already had it in my brain. I was like trying to think. I'm like, okay. I was like, I have no idea what they have in stock, and I don't know. And my first question to them, I had actually messaged them like a week ago.
Oh, okay.
And I had said, hey, I want to get Larry something for his birthday. What has he been eyeing in the store? To which they said, we don't know. And then at the time I said, okay, fine. I was like, when he comes in, and then they were like, well, we'll try and do some recon like next time he comes in. So they were trying to get some info out of him. But then of course everything wound up closing down and whatnot. So then when I called them on Saturday, I said, I know two of your favorite franchises are Mega Man and Castlevania. Mm-hmm. So I just hit them up and said, what do you have for Mega Man or Castlevania in box? And they said, oh, we have these home brews. And I'm like, okay. I said, I'm pretty sure he wouldn't have these.
No, I don't.
So I went with those.
And I was probably like a month or two away from maybe pulling the trigger, but I never did. Here, just to show a little bit of a difference. So Airman, look at this. Airman never had those blocks in there.
No, he definitely didn't. It was a flat level.
Find out Mega Man Ultra, a follow-up to the all-time classic Mega Man 2. Mega Man Ultra has brand new levels, brand new power-ups, and even a couple of surprises.
Very
so
cool.
I highly and also because I forgot about this part. That's what they look like.
Oh, that's really nice.
Beautiful blue cart for Ultra, and I'm pretty sure Gamma was the same.
Was it blue as well?
Yeah, Gamma's the same. I'll show it, but it's the same.
Okay.
So
right.
Gorgeous blue cart.
Very nice.
So.
Very, very nice. Okay, cool. Well, I'm really happy that you like that.
No, truly.
That was my biggest concern.
Thank you.
Something you would want.
Thank you very much. So as soon as I ever get the Poly Mega, I'll be able to pop these in.
Yep, very true. Well, Larry, the happiest of birthdays to you.
Yes. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. And with that, we'll start. Is that an instruction booklet? I'm sorry, just real quick. I got to look at the. Oh, no, it is an instruction booklet. Look at this thing. Interesting.
Nice.
All right, how to beat Airman. Okay, that's very specific.
All right. Well, because people do struggle through Mega Man games.
I guess so. Awesome. All right. So with that, Anthony, again, thank you very much. I truly appreciate it. And with that, we will wrap this up. And Ant, let them know where they can find us on social media while I try and put this away.
Yep. You can find us on the retrogamers.com. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/retrogamerspodcast. Instagram at retrogamerspodcast. Twitter at retrogamerspod. Mm-hmm. Or you can email us at email@theretrogamers.com.
Yes. And with that, everyone, continue playing games, continue having fun, maybe with some multiplayer games. And that's what we're doing as well, trying to stay steady.
Most importantly at this time, stay home, stay safe. You stay home, you save lives. Very important right now, so we hope everybody is doing their part.
Yes, and also make sure, again, especially on Instagram, maybe on Facebook as well, me and Ann, every once in a blue moon, nothing is set. There's going to be no topics. We'll just hop on just to say hello, just to show you that we're still here. And with that, folks, we're going to catch you right here next week on the Retro Gamers Podcast.